Good morning or evening, wherever you are. This video is part two. I'm doing a short five-part series for you to really bring, well, myself first, and of course, you up to speed. So, first of all, thank you for being a subscriber and loyally supporting me. I'm deeply appreciative of you. I feel a little bit like this last year's been whack-a-mole. Do you know that game where I pop up somewhere and then I whack myself down and I pop up somewhere else and whack myself down? And I really wanted to just share what has been going on and give you a little bit of the backstory. So, the first video I did was called The Calling. This one is called The Search, number two. Number three is going to be called The Place. Number four, Surrendering to Home. And number five will be Opening the Doors. So, this one is numero dos, number two, The Search. So, if you haven't watched number one, please go back and find that. I will just start off by saying that 1 year location free process that I set out on at the beginning of 2016 became 6 years. For 6 years, I lived out of a suitcase. So I would go to America and then come to South Africa. I would go to Greece and then South Africa. I would keep going to South Africa because my partner at the time was there and a lot of my work and talks and business. And so I was dipping in and out. South Africa, Dubai, South Africa, Greece, South Africa, England to see my mum, South Africa, America. And I was just on this amazing journey. At the end of year one, I thought, I am loving this exploration, following my calling, searching, searching, searching. I was loving it so much that I just carried on. Oh, as a little message comes through, there we go. Um, I was just so enamored with it. And yes, I was searching, wondering where am I going to live. What happened was I was called north. So I was living in South Africa. I was called north. I was exploring America, especially San Francisco area, to go and perhaps live there and immigrate there. I was exploring Greece every single year. I would work and stay there 2 to 3 months. I was exploring Italy. I was exploring England, where my mum lived in the Midlands. I was working all over the world. I actually had to write it down to remember. I was running retreats. I was doing a lot of work for the incredible organization, the YPO and the WPO. So I worked in Poland, in the Czech Republic. In Africa, I worked in Ghana, Nigeria, the DRC, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, the United States, Italy, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, so many more. I was being pulled to different places. And always I was wondering, where am I going to land? Of course, England, I was born there. So, I've always had a British passport. A lot of my family live here. I've got friends who live in England. And so eventually, what happened was I lived in Edinburgh a couple of times. I landed up being in the UK for COVID with my mum for that lockdown. We remember that. And then I returned to a place called Iona. And many of you know that journey. I lived there for 3 years. So that was when what I feel my location free time stopped. And that was in 2021. So I think that's 6 years. That's about right. 16, 17, 19, 20. Yeah, 6 years. There's me doing maths on this crazy morning. So I then created a beautiful home and a nest on Iona, and people came from all over the world to visit me and do some really special work that I called cutting the threads that bind. I still do that work. In fact, I was on Iona in April running a private retreat of that same title. And then when I left Iona, because I knew that was not my ending place, I thought I was going to be living in Greece, Italy, or Portugal. What happened was I chose Portugal. I started doing all that process. And then you might know that my mum got sick. And I just put that process on hold. And when I packed up my Iona flat, I thought if I'm in the UK, I need to be at my mum's, helping her, supporting her, loving her, hanging out with her, my best friend. And that's what I did. And then I'm like, okay, this kid's moving to Portugal. And I started that process. And it felt like, okay, I think I really know where I'm going and I'm going to make that home. And then for me, I've always been an adventurer and a traveler. So it's me about having an anchored base. So when I was location free for those 6 years, I always had my mom's home and I always had my partner's home. So I didn't feel like I was just floating off in the ether. For the last, let's say it's just over a year since my mum passed away, I have felt completely anchorless because there isn't her place to return to. You might know that feeling in your life, whether it's your own home or maybe it's your child's home, maybe it's someone in your family. Most people have an anchor somewhere because a kite needs someone to hold the kite. Otherwise, it will just fly off and go and visit NASA up in the sky. So, this last year has been a deeper search of where am I going? And in January, I thought it was Portugal. I had done 6 visits. I had started the immigration process. I had started getting my tax number and all my little ducks lining up in Portuguese. And over New Year, 25, 26, I realized it was not for me. And I thought the search is still on. And there is sometimes a restlessness to that. So maybe if you've been searching for your work or your place or your partner or your purpose, sometimes there can be a restlessness with that, which I absolutely felt. There are times when I have been facing depression, deep loneliness, grief of my mum. Obviously, we all go through that when someone we love passes away. The wondering where the hell am I going to land up and thinking it was one place, then going, no. And so from the beginning of this year, I felt, well, not only anchorless, but rudderless and what the hell, throwing it up into the world, going, show me, like, where am I meant to go? What am I meant to do? And I surrendered and I just thought, I'm not going to make any decisions. I'm just going to see the year out from my mum passing to the 1 year honoring of her and just see what happens. I also was spending a lot of time in Jersey, which I loved. And that was my searching. So that searching has been going on, searching and exploring, right? Beautiful, and it comes with its gifts, and it definitely comes with its challenges. I believe every choice we make, whether you're choosing to be single or married, whether you're choosing to be employed or start a business, whether you're choosing to live north or south, whether you're choosing to be straight or gay, whatever it is you are choosing, every choice we have has the plus and the minus, the positive and the negative, the light and the shadow. And neither choice we make or of the myriad of choices is right or wrong. We simply have to know that each choice comes with consequences, gifts, and challenges. So the searching feels like it's been going on for a very, very long time, with pockets of absolute rest and knowing, like Iona was the most magical 3 years. And thank you to all the people that visited me there and can still visit because I plan to go every year. So this is video 2. The next video that I will do in a few days is called The Place. So that's going to be revealing where the place is. So thank you for listening. If you believe or feel you need some help from me, reach out, drop me a WhatsApp if you have my number, hit reply and drop me an email. If you're watching this on social media, just hit me a message. If I don't reply, just direct message me. If I don't see it, perhaps I always reply. Not an assistant, not AI, Madame Kate. So I am fully immersed back in my work, my what I believe I do, my motto, live light, live large. I am brilliant, and I know this because people tell me this, right? Oh dear, messages coming on my phone. I should have switched that off. Apologies. Um, I know I'm brilliant at starting over and supporting you to start over, especially if you're over 50. Not everyone in your world might understand it. Your starting over could be very different to mine. You could be starting over after divorce, a death, a move, a retrenchment, a loss, a new beginning, a new country, all sorts of things. Starting over. What's also amazing is I'm really brilliant at the flip side, which is closing out. And often we need to close things out before we start over. So I'm going to be sending you the next video called The Place in a couple of days. Thanks for watching.